Oh, man, that was frustrating. So yeah, that was not fun.
So
Let
there
me tell
was
you.
a surprise cut. I missed it. I don't know. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, so Fed Speaker Bullard was talking today, and he wasn't. There was no Fed speaker scheduled to speak, so he was talking about the typical, the same thing they keep saying over and over with the inflation and things like that. So he was talking about over 50 basis points is what he was commenting on, and then what happened is Citigroup reiterated the same thing, and then chaos set the market into some major volatility. Then we could see the 10-year yield kept going up, and just chaos in the market. We saw the VIX keep going up, so it was just very frustrating to trade. Very frustrating. And then it's like you got to suddenly start really babysitting your trades. And then there was craziness with AFRM.
Yeah, I got caught up in that.
leaking the earnings on social media apparently, and I thought, oh, I wonder if that person's going to be working at the company. And then they posted the tweet and then they deleted it.
Yep.
Right.
I saw.
And then that sent the market to the spiral downside. And then we had, going back to the CPI data, Citi said that they see a 50 basis points hike likely in March following the CPI data that we had from today. So obviously the market didn't like that comment and, sent it on a little bit of a tailspin. So, wow, was I will say exhausting day.
I know, it was crazy. We had NIO and XOM here. Were you planning on changing that up given any other things you want to talk about?
No. So I will definitely talk about, I wouldn't mind.
Let's talk about tickers here.
I just want to keep it to not too many, 2 to 3 at the most, but I think we should definitely let's add Mara to that list. So NIO, Mara, and ExxonMobil, those are the only 3 for today that I'm going to comment on. And what I want to mention, and you know what? Let's talk about NVIDIA. Let's throw that one in too, because NVIDIA has earnings next week. Remember we talked about Apple, and then Apple just crushed.
NVDA, is that the
NVDA. Yes. Right. So we'll just keep it to those 4. And
let me tweet these out and.
Yeah, let's talk about those 4. So we do NIO, NVIDIA, ExxonMobil, and what was the other one I said? Oh, and Mara. Okay, so just so we can keep things in mind, and so just keep that on our list, and then I'll start talking momentarily. We'll just wait and see if a few more people come by. And
all right, I'll just put that up. Meantime, let me grab what we talked about last week.
Yes.
We're going to get all these up on Spotify going forward. Okay, last week was Snap, Amazon, AMD, Apple. So any just kind of wrapping up, looking back to last week, let me pull up some of these charts.
AMD.
So what happened with Snap? Yeah, you want to start with AMD? Let's take a quick look.
Well, you know what? AMD's, is doing fine. I mean, listen, the market has been volatile. I do want to, and before I get started, I just want to just make it very clear that, myself and Ben, we're sharing our stories here to share some content and ideas, but I just want to make it clear that all the opinions expressed by myself, Vegas, and my ILuvStocks, and Ben from StoryTrading, I just want to give a disclaimer here that it's just solely our opinions and do not reflect the opinions of any of our affiliates or anything like that. And this information we're sharing is for educational purposes, informational purposes. It is not intended as a recommendation to buy or sell any securities, and the information is also not a research report. It is not intended for the basis of any investment decisions, and we may be maintaining a position in the securities discussed as well. So I just wanted to disclose that up front as well. So, and I will tell you if I'm in them or not. So,
Got
okay.
it. You spoke to a lawyer since last
No,
week?
but someone says, I should say, I'm like, yeah, you know what, I should, because I don't want, I want to be, I like to be upfront, but I don't want anyone to feel like, whatever I say, do what I say or do what I'm doing, like do your own due diligence, of course. I'm just sharing my thoughts. So I want to talk to you guys
Yep,
about,
absolutely.
AMD, and, you guys know, like, I'm a big fan of Lisa Su, super smart. I love that woman in terms of her, like her brain, how she thinks, and how she's taken this company to the levels it's at. And the only thing that I do want to comment on, to me, market volatility, of course, from these comments about the comments from Bullard today and all that stuff. But the thing is to keep in mind, AMD had very good earnings, and we know that the stock has a very strong cash flow. And so remember, the stock not too long ago, was around, the other day, like 132.85. Okay, so you could see today 125.70. So, um, this to me has, like to look at these things as opportunities. Okay, if it can pull back lower, then you can get a better entry. Of course, cheaper is better if you can get a better entry. But the thing is that the revenue that was reported in the fourth quarter was up 49% year over year, and the net income was up 76% on a non-GAAP basis. And what I like about AMD, the even on quarter over quarter, they're one of the only companies out there. There's quite a few, but she's one of the only ones that does report earnings quarter over quarter. And so what the results are very, very impressive, and quarter over quarter up 26%. And so what she said, not too in her earnings report too, was that the data center revenue has doubled year over year from the growing adoption of their AMD EPYC processor by cloud and enterprise customers. And she did also mention the launch of their next generation of PC gaming and data products, that she does expect the revenue to continue to be, and quote, very strong. So when someone says, "Oh, I continue for it to be strong," yeah, okay, fine. But when she says very strong, pay attention. So, what this means too is that AMD, is extremely profitable, especially from a cash flow standpoint. And I think that this is very good for the company, and the fact that they have a very strong outlook. She actually said that they do expect a 45% higher revenue at $5 billion plus or minus 100 million from that number. So I think that what's really important to keep in mind is that the company has great free cash flow, and I won't be surprised to see some more upgrades come in for AMD. I know that one of the analysts from Daiwa Capital Market, Louis Misciosa, said that he likes AMD as a buy, raised the target to 150, and also mentioned that his expectations on AMD is going to be delivering multi-year growth strategy. And that is really what's important. People want to be in a company that has strong growth and strong cash. So, AMD, the fact that it's pulled back, should not scare long-term investors that know the story behind the stock. They know the CEO, they know the fundamentals, they know the money flow, they know all that. They're not going to be like, "Oh man, I'm closing my trade." Like, they're going to be maybe adding to the position, or maybe someone that likes AMD is going to be watching now as an opportunity for a trade. So definitely keep AMD. So no change on that one. Still like it long on AMD. And
Yep, and just looking at the chart, it is up over the last 5 days since we last spoke, from about 118
yes,
to 125.
yeah. So we
gave back some today, but it had a strong 4 days before that, still up.
Yeah. So that's looking good. What else do we want to talk about? Oh,
Yeah, we also talked about Snap
oh
last
my
week.
God, that was like amazing. I wish I was in it. But I was.
That one was it dove on Facebook earnings, right? And then it came right back up on its own earnings.
Yeah, I think what happened is
that the one?
Snapchat's had quite. I had invested in Snap at one point and then sold when it was doing quite well, but I made good money on that one when that happened. But I have not been back in Snap. But it looks phenomenal. And like I said,
Oh,
was
it's up
going to be
today.
revisiting that stock because of the fact that, the guidance was incredible and that the numbers and everything that they
Yes, you did
talked
say that.
about was history in the making for Snap as a publicly traded company. The thing is, the only thing to realize with Snap, just to let for those of you listening, is that Snap is a volatile stock sometimes, and that I think it's just a phase it's going through. I mean, look, the stock rallied very well, and you have to accept the fact that it can pull back in terms of a retracement. So I think that we'll have to wait and see if Snap. Some people are just watching it. They're not too convinced yet if they feel that if it's a compelling investment. But the thing is with Snap, the thing is it's really not profitable yet. The management has improved their net loss line item, and I think their metrics probably can do better. But the thing is that they do have positive cash flow from their own operations, and so what it does is it allows the management to do what they need to do without having to, they don't have to get any loans or anything like that. So that's really good with the company. So something to watch on Snap. Let me just see here. I think that
And Snap is up. It was up today, up 24% since earnings, since we last spoke 5 days ago.
Yeah.
Up 70%, right, with that big gap up if you got in before
I mean,
earnings.
listen, if this ever went below $32, I'd be like, whoa, bargain. But at this point, I mean, it's at 40.75. I think it's trucking quite well. Markets received the, I guess maybe the market participants are still happy with the Snap stock. And we'll see if there's any how the stock performs between now and the next quarter. But definitely keep a watch on this. And if it does pull back under 32, that could be an opportunity, in my opinion. So just something to watch.
Okay. We also talked about Apple and Amazon last week. Any updates you want to give on those
Well,
two?
first of all, I suck at trading Apple I suck at trading it from a day trade perspective. I like to trade options, and I'm good in option. I'm good trader with options, but sometimes Apple, I don't know. I don't think Apple likes me when I when I try to trade it short term. Whether it's an option day trade, it just never works out with me. So I kind of stay away from Apple unless I go into a swing. But I do want to see Apple get over 177. So if you're watching Apple or thinking about Apple, 177 is a key break. And if it does break 177, we'll see Apple have a move to the upside. But again, earnings, everything about Apple. It was great earnings report, good guidance, good everything. Tim Cook does a great job with Apple, and we know that they have, as I mentioned, they have all-time record revenues of $123.9 billion. They have also $63.9 billion in cash and marketable securities. And the CFO, Luca Maestri, he did talk about how the customer response to their launch of all their new products and the services have driven the double-digit growth in revenue and earnings, and has obviously set an all-time high for their installed base of active devices. So keep a watch on Apple. In the past 12 months, listen, it's up 26%. I mean, that's a fantastic return. I mean, some of these analysts are forecasting this, to go anywhere from $190 to $200. So just, keep a watch on Apple. And it has, lots going on for the year. They have, I think, 22 products or, and 22 patents for the year. So who knows what else they'll come up with as time evolves. But, Apple right now, I want to see this break 177 for a move up. So it's kind of right now a bit of a chop zone here.
Okay. Amazon we touched on last week after earnings. What are your thoughts on that?
Amazon looked like some money flow was going in there. Amazon always makes money. I mean, everyone's, shops online. And I mean, I'm always amazed how whenever I've ordered anything, it just comes the next day. I'm like, how do they do it? I don't know how they move the product so fast. But the thing is that their web services is very promising. They have a lot of new initiatives. And, they also, one thing they did say, they did commit to buying a huge amount of its shares back. So I think that, and also they're increasing Prime membership fees as well. Now, one thing someone suggested, which I thought was really cute, with Amazon, was that if you have a Prime membership, which I have one as well, people can do Prime monthly or Prime annually. So if you don't want to get stuck with the rate increase for the Prime fee, the annual fee, especially if you pay annual, you can actually renew it. You can buy a gift card, like a Prime annual membership gift card now, and then use it for when the renewal comes, and the price you'll pay today will be before the fee goes up. So you can save money that way if you were to buy the gift card now and just keep it for when the renewal comes. So I thought that was a cute
I'm looking,
little tidbit.
Yeah, good tidbit. I'm looking at all these charts from last week, and they all have the same pattern, following the market, except Snap. Snap is a very strong relative outperformance out of the bunch, so maybe that means something.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh, I said looking at the charts of all these stocks we just talked about from last week, they all have the same pattern in the last 5 days, really just following the major indices, except for Snap.
Yeah.
Snap has relative outperformance out of all of them, the strongest chart in the last 5 days.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but they're totally different companies too, But I will say, all good fundamentally over round. I think with Amazon too, I think by increasing the Prime membership fee by $20, people are thinking that that's a good thing for the company. Maybe not a good thing for us, but I guess they'll be reinvesting a portion of those extra funds into other services, and they're looking to also use that capital to improve delivery performances for Prime customers as well. So, I mean, I don't know what they can do to improve. I mean, I am always happy with the fact that I ordered today and it's delivered tomorrow. So I don't know how much faster they can get it to me. But yes, they keep this in mind. They did buy back $1.3 billion of their shares. And by the way, it's the first time it has repurchased the stock in a decade. So that's really an important point to note.
Awesome. All right, so now let's get to our main event. We got 4 new stocks here.
Yeah, so let's talk about these other ones. I want to talk to you guys.
XOM, Mara, and NVDA. So those of you who are not familiar with StoryTrading, we try to look at stocks holistically by looking at more than just one side of it, which is a lot of people just look at technicals. A lot of people just look at fundamentals. At StoryTrading, we like to look at technicals, fundamentals, sentiment, and catalysts, and we call that the story. And Vegas, you don't have to break it down exactly like that, but I know when you analyze stocks, you also look at it kind of holistically to understand the catalysts and the fundamentals. Yeah. So let's hear some of these stories.
Okay, so let's just talk about NVIDIA. I mean, obviously, the ARM deal didn't go through, and I kind of looked at it that, well, that's going to just be cash on the books for them. But we do know that NVIDIA has earnings on February the 16th, which is next week. What day is that? Wednesday. And we know that it's a very good tech company. They have a lot of growth going on. They've had massive growth in the gaming segment, and there is so much momentum, I think, in this actual company. And NVIDIA, back in November, was around $333, and you can see today it closed. It's around right now as I'm talking, $257.70. And the thing to keep in mind, we always talk about, you want to be into a company that has growth and also good cash, and this is another example of a company that has very good cash and massive growth potential. And one of the things that they reported in the third quarter, they did report $3.2 billion from the gaming business, which was a 5% increase from previous quarters and 42% higher than the same time a year prior. So the thing is that we know earnings is February 16, And a lot of analyst expectations, they are expecting a revenue of $7.4 billion and an earnings per share of $1.22. I actually anticipate that they're going to probably impress investors, and we want to also hear about the Omniverse. Okay. The other thing too is that I talked about how they're very into, make very good money in the gaming sector, and this is the kind of company that is going to grow. So even though you might think the stock's already done really well, it's been around 333, it's still doing great, in my opinion. And I think that I think you have to just keep watching NVIDIA. I think the earnings are just going to shock people, just like Apple. A lot of people were thinking, oh, how much higher can Apple go? And boom, it did really well. So I think what's happening with NVIDIA to keep in mind is that they have a solid brand of products. There's the growth, the cash, and I think that we're going to be impressed with the earnings coming up. So I am not going to be surprised that when the earnings come out, that the guidance will be good. And this is, again, my opinion. And of course, I could be wrong. But I won't be surprised. Maybe the stock pops to $300 or more. So, because that has that kind of like power, right? To go that hard. And so I think remains to be seen. And so I think they're going to crush it. And I do have some option calls personally on NVIDIA, and I have the 300s for February 18. And those are currently they closed around 160, $1.60. So you can definitely, keep an eye on those if you're interested. But again, if you're going to hold into earnings, you could lose that money and go to zero, right? So if you're going to trade an earnings play, a lot of people refuse to do that. They will not do an earnings play, but they might do after the earnings comes out the next day. Obviously, they will trade options based on the results the next day, and they don't care if they have to pay more for contracts because obviously they don't want to take the risk by buying it before the earnings, and then whatever they buy on the contracts, if they put in a couple $100 or more, they could lose all that money. So some people don't want to take that risk. So I don't really have a huge position for those contracts for next week, but I do have a position in it. So, and if it, I know that it can go to zero. So, but I'll take the risk, and it could be a great risk reward. So I'm comfortable taking that risk for myself. So I have a position in the actual contracts, not and we'll go from there. Nothing long term. I don't have anything like March or anything like that.
Right, great, awesome context. Thank you for sharing that with the audience. How you're approaching that with the risk before and after earnings. I'm the type of person. I mix it up. I do some of that, but generally speaking, I'd rather pay higher for a stock after it's de-risked. So, but that was a great context to give people.
But you know what? That's different. Like if you're doing stock, like see, options is a little different, right? Because I'm only putting in, if someone wants to buy the option, it's only $160 for one contract. I mean, NVIDIA stock, it's 257. So already if you buy 10, over $2,500. Where if I wanted to buy like 5-6 contracts, I'm not going to pay anywhere near that. So my, cash exposures is less. But yes, definitely a lot of traders I know, like, I mean, I'm not going to buy the stock and hold it, into earnings necessarily because it's so risky. But then there's other traders that they don't care. They will hold it. If they feel confident, they will. So, yeah, but they're willing to, whatever they want to risk, it's their money, their decision. So, but yes, I don't recommend that at all.
Well, you
It's
know
too
what?
risky.
I ended up accidentally holding some options into earnings today because after that Affirm leak came out, I'm like, you know what? Let me play with options the rest of the day. And I even knew, I warned my community. I said, with that tweet that came out early, they may be forced to issue earnings as soon as possible. But I knew of that possibility, but I just didn't. It didn't process for myself. I'm like, it was so volatile. I was having fun. I was making money trading options, and then they put the earnings out. Boom! I lost like everything in 5 seconds. It was crazy.
Yeah, and the options on Affirm was nuts. Like it was up down $5 in like 2 minutes. So it was really horrible. Tough to trade for sure.
No, it was fun before the release came out. It was
Yeah,
good.
that's
I mean,
yeah,
I
before,
was
yes.
baking, I was trading, yeah, and then then the earnings came out, and yeah, that sucked. I was not planning on holding through earnings, so I got a little surprise there.
Sorry,
All
my
right.
dog's barking here because someone's at my door, but it's okay. So,
So that was
yeah, that was
NVIDIA.
NVIDIA. So now let's move
Okay.
into let's talk about NIO. And you've
Okay.
heard you
So
guys.
you've talked about NIO
Mm-hmm.
before on our
Mm-hmm.
show.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Chinese EV stock, is that
Yeah,
right?
Chinese electrical vehicle stock, and
Okay.
NIO is again from an options perspective, monthlies are better. But I will say that the stock has done a nice little rally. It looks to me that it's ready to be breaking out. So let's take a look here on NIO. But I want to tell you that the stock is obviously still down over the past month. Year to date, it's down about 19%. And when we talked last, I did talk about how I kind of felt like it kind of bottomed around that $20 mark. And it's right now around 25.34 right now. So keep NIO on your radar. I think that a lot of analysts continue to reiterate that the stock is a buy the dip opportunity. Barclays Bank has put a price of $34 on the stock. They rate it an overweight rating. And they actually talk about how they feel that the adoption of the electric vehicles around the world has presented China's electric vehicle maker as a rare opportunity, and that they do feel that that there's a lot going on. Remember that there's a reason why the stock has pulled back. The stock had a 52-week high of 63.06, and there's different things that has pulled NIO down, and one these included the global shortages of semiconductors and microchips that hurt NIO. And also, they did miss on some delivery numbers back in August and October, but really it was because of the chip shortage. So I think with the chip shortages easing and the global supply chain getting much better, it is a positive for NIO as well. And then we had, the nonsense with the Chinese stocks when the authorities in Beijing cracked down on many publicly traded companies, and so that obviously affected them as well. So I think all of that nonsense is kind of like dust in the wind, and I think that NIO for sure has been ramping up their production, and they're also, I've talked about this before, but they are pushing into obviously markets outside of China, and that they have doubled the production of the Chinese plant to 240,000 vehicles a year. And they're obviously establishing a sales bulkhead in Norway, and they have also recently leased a 200,000 square foot space in San Jose, California. And so I am hearing rumors that, or reading rumors that they're going to enter the United States. So
That'd be a good
why did they
catalyst.
lease that? That's a lot of office space, So, and also they're going to be launching the ET7, the full-size sedan, which, could be debuting by the end of 2022, and also the ET5, which is a compact sedan. And they do have a competitive edge over the domestic and foreign electric vehicle rivals, and they have the battery swapping service as well, and they have the monthly subscription service has been very popular, and NIO swapped out its 4 millionth battery last year, so they're doing really, really well. Give me 1 second, hold on.
All right. We'll taking a little pause here while Vegas takes care of her dog. If anyone has any questions or comments, by the way, if we have time, we'll get to you. You can hit that mic button in the bottom left, and if there's time, we'll get to you.
Yeah, I just put
Go
my
ahead.
dog on my lap. I think he's very noise sensitive. He's like a little guard dog. He's like a German Shepherd, but he's not. He's a little cute little Maltese. He's so cute. Okay. Hopefully we have dog lovers listening. Okay, so going back to
Yep.
NIO, right? So I told you about the battery swapping. And the thing is, too, that a lot of analysts covering the stock, over 26 analysts covering the stock, and a lot of them have said that the stock probably in the next 12 months they won't be, they're forecasting the stock to be around $55. So here's the thing. There's obviously huge upside to the stock. And so this is why I love the story of this company. And so to me, when a stock's beaten down like this, for reasons that really was not their fault, with the supply chain and all that stuff, and now that's, like I said, dust in the wind. So to me, it screams opportunity on NIO, and I do have NIO shares, and I do have option contracts as well for March next month, and I have March 18 contracts, and I have various strikes. I have 30 and 35s and 25s. So for March, but I don't have anything too much further out. Some January, some leaps as well for NIO.
Okay. Sounds good. I like this new aspect you're adding to our show where you're telling us specifically what trades you're in. That's kind of fun. I like that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, then you guys can check it out and see if you like it. I know some people don't trade the stock; they like to trade options. So, just giving some sharing what the ones I'm in, and you can check them out for yourself.
All right, sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
We got two more here, Mara and Exxon.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's talk about Mara, okay? Because listen to this. So you guys, those of you that know me, I follow the dark pool, and which is obviously the exchange where the fat cats trade, and obviously nobody knows who's trading against who, and we always get the data reported, delayed reporting sometimes. Sometimes it reports in real time. But we saw today, as you can see, the Bitcoin market, and this past week in particular. I mean, I remember last year, like, not Mara was like around $60 back in January 2021, and I noticed that Mara all week has been on my scanner, and we know that Bitcoin is just waiting to make a move here, and there was some dark pool activity on this GBTC, which is the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and you should be watching that if you're wanting to see if there's going to be a move in the Bitcoin sector. But there was a dark pool. There was actually a big foreign money trade, and the thing is that every time we see a big transaction through this exchange, GBTC, you can expect a potentially big move on Bitcoin. So watch and see if this GBTC can break $33. If it does, then you can definitely watch for a move to the upside in Bitcoin. And, we don't really want it below $30, this GBTC, because if it goes below 30, then you might see Bitcoin move to the downside. So that doesn't mean it's going to go over that tomorrow. It's just sometimes it takes a few days, or up to three, anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks or 4 weeks for the real line in the sand to show its true colors. So I actually think it's probably going to go up. In my opinion, we've seen some good rallies in the Bitcoin sector lately, and I like that we broke the 40. We went to 43. We've been hovering between there, 44, 45. It's been good for some crypto plays. So just keep a watch on these on that GBTC, and then if you see that break 33, then watch Bitcoin and see what happens. So keep that in mind.
So let's see if we can go beyond, and you might not be able to on Bitcoin, but if we can go beyond just technicals, when we talk about the four pillars, I mean, are there fundamentals there? Are there catalysts? Anything going on maybe in this macro environment? How do you figure out, or what's your kind of thesis on what's going to happen with Bitcoin based on fundamentals, catalysts, or the macro environment beyond just looking at the technicals?
You know, I gotta tell you, I think with Bitcoin in general, I mean, look, crypto is becoming more and more adopted. I was reading a report from crypto.com, and they were talking about how the crypto wallet holders, they it's their growth rate has been immense. They were saying that there were 106 million crypto holders globally back in January of last year, 2021, and that by the end of December 2021, there was 295 million crypto holders. And they do expect that the number of crypto holders will increase to 1 billion by the end of this year. So if you really think about it, that's more than double or triple the growth rate. And, we know that Bitcoin has a limited supply at 21 million, and it's definitely going to trend higher because adoption's becoming bigger. I mean, a lot of these altcoins have provided some multifold returns. I think a lot of portfolios continue to hold Bitcoin. I think the adoption has been accelerated, and it's probably going to support the price action to the upside. So, I don't think, Bitcoin or crypto, I don't think crypto is going anywhere but up. So that's, again, my opinion. But I think people are getting more educated. I mean, people are learning about how, wow, I can make some money in crypto, like investments. I mean, I'm invested in some crypto, but not a lot, because crypto was new to me from last year. I just started delving into crypto last summer, and I think it's great if you want to be long term, but you have to do your due diligence because you want to be in the right coins and things like that. But the thing is that, in my opinion, Bitcoin's not going anywhere. It's going up down the road, longer term. So, listen, I remember when Bitcoin, years and years ago, I knew, I was told about it, and Bitcoin at the time was probably under $1 when I knew about it. And I thought, this is like a scam because how am I going to, what do you mean it's a Bitcoin? How do I even buy it? How do I sell it? How do I get my money back? What do you mean it's a coin? So I got to put money in, but I can't actually hold the coin in my hand. It's like a virtual currency. But, back then I wasn't as educated as I am now, and I had to learn about it. But I didn't even know at the time, like, how do you even buy Bitcoin? And now today there's so many platforms out there that you can even buy fractional shares of Bitcoin, and bank, and and have a portfolio. So you just have to do the research and be in the right ones. You don't want to be in the ones that, you put in all this money and it doesn't work out, just like, penny stocks. So you got to view, these coins as, opportunities, and do your own research, because there's so many coins. And I mean, so many platforms out there that are crypto based too. And I had to tell you, I had to learn how to trade on these crypto platforms because it's so different than trading on your broker for stocks. So that was another nightmare. That should be another show. How to set up a crypto account. That was like a joke. I was like, oh, I was so frustrated. So it was very frustrating for sure. But it's become easier, but with experience becomes easier. Like now I can explain it to someone else, but when I had to do it myself, I was was frustrated for sure. And the thing is, sometimes when there's a coin that comes out in the crypto market, not every platform that has crypto trading actually offers the coin either. So sometimes you want to buy a crypto coin and you can't buy it because the platform you trade on doesn't offer it. So then you end up having to go open up another crypto account somewhere else. The next thing you know, you have like 5 or 6 crypto accounts. Just crazy. So anyhow, going back to your question, that's just my thoughts on Bitcoin and crypto. I think that's going to be widely adopted, and continue. The adoption will be continue to be supported, and I think that one of the ones to not overlook is definitely one of my favorites is Mara, and I'm long on Mara, and I like it. Because they have so much cash. We talk about, you want to be in a stock that has good cash. Well, Mara's one of them, and Mara has done very well At one point, they did report in January that the Bitcoin production growth of 816%. And, like other miners, Marathon has done really well. The numbers have blown investors away. And I think the company, just so you know, this company is worth $2.4 billion. That is impressive, okay? And I think that this is going to be a stock that if Bitcoin can move, watch out for Mara. This is going to go with it. So, and it's, cheap at these points because we know where it's traded before. So keep a watch on Mara. So I am long on Mara, and it's just because I'm waiting for the move in crypto to go up. So once it goes, I'm gonna anticipate the move. So I'm forecasting a move on Mara.
Okay, sounds good. And last we got Exxon Mobil. I guess it's a oil outlook. You got a positive oil outlook there?
Well, you know what? They had their earnings on February 1st, and they did mention that they have a lot of Exxon projects that are going to be generating them a ton of money over the next 5 years. And they also decided, which the market participants seem to have liked, was the $10 billion share buyback program, which is on top of their generous dividend payment. So the other thing too is that they have paid down a lot of debt, and that was very evident in their slide deck. And they are going to double their cash flow operations by 2027. So I think this is very important to keep a watch on Exxon. I am watching this. I don't have a position in Exxon, but I am watching to see if it can break $81. And then if it does, then I will go into a trade if it breaks $81. And we have to I think this is one to watch. I think there's a lot going on with the actual company. I think that the stock, in my opinion, very undervalued. And I think that if you are a value investor, you're going to consider that this is a good opportunity to invest in the actual stock or to maybe consider initiating a position for yourself. I think a lot of people really, Exxon, they don't really worry about oil prices. They're able, with all the projects they have, they're able to produce a lot, and they're also able to produce a lot of cash flow based in the next 5 years. And they did show in their slide deck, if you were to go on page 14, $100 billion of cash flow will be available over and above their dividend and capex requirements for the next 5 years, and they're going to use that to buy back shares and reduce debt. So I think apart from everything else and the historical valuation metrics, this alone should move the stock higher. So the thing is, if you like a long term, and you're also, by the way, you can't expect like, oh, the stock's going to rip. This is not one of those stocks like a Tesla where it can move $100 in a matter of days, up or down. This is more for a long-term, patient value investor. So if you like long-term, you like it slow, you're patient, then you're going to probably see the stock do well. And so, longer term, this can probably head towards like 105, in my opinion. So, this could be something that you can investigate and do your own due diligence. And you'll probably appreciate that as a value investor, this is a cheap stock for what they offer and what they have going forward.
Yeah, and it looks like a lot of these mega caps are value stocks these days. Apple. Pretty amazing. I got to turn off my. Why am I getting phone calls? I have my nighttime mode on. That's weird.
Oh,
okay,
that's okay. You're just popular.
It's quite something. Apple, Microsoft, and Exxon, and there's a ton of other examples. So I'm actually, just a little side note here. I've been, for a couple months, I was bearish the market. I had a lot of hedges on but I took my hedges mostly off after these huge earnings from these mega cap companies. I mean, Exxon's not on the NASDAQ, but I don't want to be shorting the NASDAQ with Apple, Microsoft, Amazon on there. They're just like, and what's the other one? It's MAGA now. Microsoft, Apple, Google. There you go. Google killed it, right? So these are turning into value plays, these the biggest of companies.
Yeah, they are turning for value plays too, and I think that like a company like Mara, I think a lot of Mara is not the only Bitcoin miner. I mean, I mentioned Mara 'cause it's one of my favorites, and I love their cash flow. But there's other ones like Riot and Hive and Hut, and those ones are a little bit cheaper. So if you like those like Bitcoin plays per se, then you can look at those other ones I just mentioned as opportunities to still be in the actual trend, Bitcoin plays that are relating to the sentiment of where Bitcoin goes, and those are cheaper from an equities perspective.
Okay, great. We hit all the names you wanted to talk about, right?
Yeah, but I
Good.
do. I could go on and on. I mean, we could do a whole show for 2 hours. But
I know
these are great. I think they're great stocks. I know I've been talking about CCL. I've tweeted about CCL, and it's my comeback stock, my COVID comeback stock. And so definitely keep a watch on that one. Still loving that one.
Yep, you've been on top of that consistently for the last at least month and a half since I heard you talking about it on Wolf. So I wanted to ask you, take a couple minutes here since you went through your list. BioCris, BCRX. This is one we published an article on Benzinga just last night. We have a YouTube video out on it too. It was presented to our community by a member of our community, Zach Keller. You can go to youtube.com/StoryTrading and see it. So it seems to be getting some positive feedback after I put it on Spaces. I noticed you took note of it. A couple other panelists have been interacting with those tweets on BCRX. I wanted to get your thoughts because I'm in this. I have a position, and I am trying an options trade. Like I said, I usually don't do options trade. I've had common shares for like a year in this stock, and now it looks like it's like breaking out to 52-week highs. And I'm like, why not? Let me try some options trade. So let's get your take on BCRX. Are you playing it? What are you doing with that?
I don't have a position at this time in BCRX. I did see the options, actually see some options activity in BCRX. Let me just take a look here because there was some options flow. Let me just want to pull it up because I want to see what's happening here. And we'll probably it'll be really great. We'll have Vivi BioQueen come on here one night, and she's from the biotech sector, and so we'll get her. She's loving this one. I noticed we tweeted with her today, and she's loving it. And I think she was talking about their market cap today as well. Did she say it was like $5 billion? What did she say about the market cap?
Is 3.2 billion.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Okay, so that's what she was talking about.
I mean, this is out of all the charts we looked at, just pull up the 5-day. I mean, that's incredible. That's relative strength there. Not only is it going up every single day, but it just hit a new 52-week high this morning. I wonder, is that a closing high as well? Because it dipped down earlier. It might be.
So this chart, okay, so when I look at this chart, I mean, as of even yesterday's close, like what did this close at today? Let me see, BCRX. 1790. You know what? It's still 52-week closing highs. This had a beautiful, pocket pivot, and whenever you see like a pocket pivot, to me it's like a footprint that's trying to tell you that the stock wants to go higher. So I love that I saw the pocket pivot on this weekly chart. Always very good to take, when you look at these charts, don't just look at the daily, look at the weekly, look at the monthly as well to give you that bigger picture of the stock. And this looks incredible. Now let me ask you, like the earnings are coming up right on February 23rd, so in 2 weeks. So not next week. One of the
My
earnings.
wife's birthday.
Oh, well, will you be celebrating or not? But
We'll see.
we'll see. We'll see. But you know what? So that the earnings is coming up in a couple weeks. So I don't really know much about the company in that sense. But what are your thoughts on what you think the earnings are going to be like? Because
Yeah,
you've been following this one and you're in this one.
yeah, well, what I really like about it, I increased my position over the
Mm-hmm.
last few months because they had two major, actually three major catalysts, which really bodes well for future fundamentals. The first was they got $300 million in non-dilutive financing. These are basically royalties being paid upfront, but then they have to pay a percentage of revenue from their lead drug, Orladeyo. But that's not even perpetual royalty. It's only up to a certain limit. They get paid back a certain amount and they're done. So $300 million upfront financing, that was incredible. And then one of those partners as well, they did a $50 million they put in at, I believe it was $14 at the time. And the stock was like trading below 14 and they bought shares above the market price at $14. So like I added back then. So that was catalyst number one. Catalyst number two, a few weeks later, we had some huge insider purchases. So that was good. And then just recently, you see this big recent run up from, let's see here, from January 10th. I don't know exactly when the catalyst hit, but sometime in the last couple months, they put out a press release increasing guidance for that lead drug, Orladeyo. I think they forecasting 250 million in sales this year for that drug and $1 billion in peak sales for Orladeyo. And you know, anytime you hear a $1 billion sale number for a drug, that's considered a blockbuster drug. So here's a tiny little company that's growing into a pharmaceutical company now, multi-billion-dollar valuation. So I just look at it very simply that they got $350 million in cash, $1 billion in sales coming for it, and it's a $3 billion valuation, and the technicals look great. I'm in. I keep it simple like that. I don't know specifically for this quarter what I'm expecting, but they already just a few weeks ago guided higher for that drug, Orladeyo.
Well, you know what? If it meets your criteria and you're comfortable, I mean, you know, that's great. I mean, I don't always go by all these charts. I'm not like a chartist. I like to look beyond the charts and look for the potential catalysts and the pillars behind what is going to make a move on the stock. So just like I had mentioned, even on my social media, I talked about Sava, how this could easily go to $60.
Mm-hmm.
And then today it did just that. And it exploded. So
Oh, wow.
that was a good one.
Check that out.
Yeah, that was a good one there too because they're working on the Alzheimer's drug, and you know we do need a cure or treatment for Alzheimer's. It's you know, I have a family member of mine in the past that had Alzheimer's. So it's a sad thing to see, and it would be nice to see some potential medical treatments for that ailment. So you know, we'll see.
I'm familiar with Sava because in our community there's a stock, Immune Bio. It's INMB. Are you familiar with it?
I've heard of that one. Yes.
You know, Immune Bio also has a Alzheimer's drug they're developing, and the relative valuation compared to Sava very, very low, but it also tends to sometimes have explosive moves. So that's one I'm a long-term holder, and for very kind of sentimental reasons, like you said, it's like we need a drug for Alzheimer's. That's a terrible disease. There's not really good treatments for it. So I have like that's just something I'm holding for years and hoping they make it because if they do, it's like a 100-bagger, you know?
Oh my gosh, if that would hit, it'd be like gonzo. Gonzo. I mean, I would like that stock could go like into the hundreds.
Yeah, I mean, any stock that has a good treatment
Something like
for
that.
Alzheimer's. Yeah,
Oh, for sure, for sure.
yeah. Coming to the close shortly here, I want to mention this weekend, obviously, it's Super Bowl. So
Yeah.
we usually do Sunday night shows at StoryTrading. We're not doing it. But speaking of the Super Bowl, I mentioned two stock picks that could be Super Bowl plays. And one of them you've talked about before, SoFi. So the Super Bowl is at SoFi Stadium. And I don't think a lot of people necessarily know that. There's going to be a lot of people tuning into this Super Bowl who don't follow football, and there's going to be SoFi all over the place Sunday night. So I'm thinking this could be a catalyst. I don't know. Maybe it's something to pick up and sell Monday morning. Got any thoughts on that?
Well, you know what? I think that like we could see the stock. Remember, we talked about how 52-week high around 24.95, and yesterday, what did it close at? 12.39, and today, what's it at here? Yeah, 12.32. So, I think that this stock here, I mean, I do like it, but the thing is, I feel like it's kind of stuck. I mean, I like that it's over the $10, and it's kind of been okay trading it, but I want to see here this keep push through. The stock has had a challenge here, and I think that with the rising rates too, it has taken, these growth stocks have kind of taken a bit of a hit, as we know. But we'll definitely say that the downtrend hasn't been the best. I think that just got to be, this one here is a tough one to trade. Okay, it is a tough one. So I think you have to wait. Like, if you're not in this, I think wait for a break of 1350 for that, and then if it breaks 1350, it could go to around 1427, and those are kind of like some important levels on the SOFI stock. So, it kind of, if people like bottom plays, this could be potentially one of these pullbacks here, like kind of a bottom here. But want to see this, if we can gotta get over 1350, which is you can see we had that happen around February 1st. That was the high day, but we haven't been able to get past that again. So it actually needs to break even 1355 to see a next leg up. So just
Yeah,
still keep
definitely.
this one on watch.
I just pulled up the chart. You're right. A tough one to trade. These candles, the daily candles, all over the place, man. A lot of chop in an overall downtrend. It's a lot of chop in an overall downtrend. So that's very, very tough to trade. But I don't know. Would you ever take a trade like buying something on a Friday with a Monday morning catalyst, just with a plan to sell it Monday morning, or is the environment kind of too tough right now for that?
No, I mean, listen, there's and like I like to do it sometimes on a options lotto. I don't really like to do it on the commons, but I like doing it on an options perspective. Option lotto play. So, you'd have to do, that's happening when, this weekend? This
Super Bowl
event, Super Bowl
Sunday,
Sundays this weekend, right? So, I mean, listen, the open interest on SOFI today on $13 calls was over 7,300, which is a lot of volume today. Those contracts, $13 calls for monthly Feb 18, so it takes you right into the Super Bowl, which is great. And the risk reward could be there. I mean, those are only 44 cents, and quite interestingly, they were 88 cents earlier in the day. So if you have a chance tomorrow and they happen to be around that price point, based on the market volatility today, I mean, those are like on sale, in my opinion, 50% off from where they were earlier today. And the nice thing with that is you're pretty much close to being in the money. That one had the highest open volume today, and in terms of open interest, that has the highest as well, as the $13 call. So, if you're gonna play like a Super Bowl lotto play, then yeah, that would be the one that I would consider, because the volume's there, and again, risk reward might be appetizing. So that is the one I would consider. The only other one, if you want some risk reward but less, because now Monday becomes a weekly, you just then go to the ones in March. Like go into the like $15 calls for SOFI for March 18, and those ones are closed around 66 cents. And same concept, except you have more time on them. You'd have to go to a higher strike because they do not have a $13 strike, so you'd have to go farther away from the money. But the nice thing is you have more time on it. So it just depends. Like, if you're a panic trader, then you're not going to want to do the one for next week. If you would like to be more relaxed on it, then you can consider the ones for March. So, but I mean, I like the volatility, so I'm going to look at the ones for the ones that you mentioned, the ones that we're talking about, the 13s for Feb 18.
Yeah.
I'll take a look. I'll take a look at those tomorrow, because the fact that they're half price from the high of day today, that's interesting. I'll definitely check it out.
That's very helpful. Nice call out. Quickly calling out a good option. I like that. I like that
Yeah,
13 strike.
volume's there.
Yeah, I could see that happening as long as the market doesn't crash. Look at the chart. I mean, like I said, all things being equal and market being stable, there's got to be a ton of people who, seeing this on Sunday night and saying, let me buy SoFi Monday morning. It's got to happen. So it's just a question of, is the market going to cooperate, and what is that bounce going to look like Monday morning?
For sure.
Yeah. Very cool.
And what was the other one that had the Super Bowl? Roblox. Remember Roblox? Yesterday they had news on Roblox, and they said that they have a metaverse where you can have your own Super Bowl stadium, you can make your own team, your own everything. And so Roblox had a nice pop as a result of that. So that one.
I got some of those Nancy Pelosi calls. You have those?
Okay. Well, we traded it yesterday during the day, and then we were in and out of them. I don't have any Roblox stock or any position, but we were in and out of that fast because the thing popped, and then boom. And then I think they have earnings also coming up soon too, so that'll be interesting. But
nice.
a lot of kids playing Roblox.
Yep. The last one I wanted your quick advice on, if you want to look at it, quick feedback on. I mentioned it on, again for the Super Bowl. It's Wallbox, WBX. I don't know if you're familiar with Wallbox, electric vehicle charging stock. It's been very strong. It's been holding up very nicely the last few months as a SPAC, as a risk asset. Unbelievable relative strength, and they're going to be having a Super Bowl commercial Sunday night. So I'm hoping that'll get a pop Monday morning as well.
Yeah, so this one here is Wallbox, right? This is the zero emissions Uber deal, right?
EV charging Uber.
Yes. So I have heard of this one, and the weekly chart I am liking here. I was liking the weekly chart, but this one here, I'm not that familiar with what else they have lined up from a company perspective, but I think with the Biden administration talking about the fact that their infrastructure, Biden's administration, they were talking about the electric vehicle charging station infrastructures, and we know that other companies like WBX, Blink, all those, they rolled out a plan. I think they're allocating $5 billion to fund EV chargers over the next 5 years. And then they also mentioned in the plan that the National EV Infrastructure Formula Program is part of the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure package that he signed last year. So this will be interesting to see how that one there plays out. But the chart does look nice on when I look at the weekly chart.
Yep, I have those Wallbox Super Bowl calls this time. What do I have? Which ones? Let me see. I guess I got the 15.
There's options on it.
Yeah, I have the $15 calls expiring next week, so I'm trying those. We'll see what happens.
Okay. And what are those going for?
About 50 cents.
Okay, so it's pretty close to the other ones for SOFI. SOFI's a little bit cheaper, and but you know what? I like that they're both. But here's the only thing, you see, if you actually take a look at the options volume, okay, on WBX versus the one we talked about, SOFI, you'll notice that the volume is much juicier. Okay, much more lucrative in the SOFI contracts versus WBX. Not to say WBX can't go, but the volume is much juicier in the SOFI. So, probably SOFI is a better fit in terms of liquidity as well, because obviously with options you don't want to be stuck. You could buy the contracts very easily, but then if you don't want to try to sell it, it's hard. Sometimes you got to have a seller, a buyer, but volume's juicier in SOFI. So keep that in mind. Don't But yeah, I didn't realize that they had options as well. So thank you for sharing that.
Cool. Well, thank you for another great episode, Vegas. Appreciate your time. We'll be off again for Super Bowl this Sunday night. I think you're going to be off next week as well.
Yeah, I'm going to be off next week, and then I'll be in touch with you to let you know if I'll be available for the week after. So we won't have a session next week, but I'll let you know if we can schedule one for the week after. But definitely look forward to sharing some stories, because it's always something that we're hunting for and looking for opportunities to obviously make money.
Absolutely. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but while we were talking earlier, we put up a new link, storytrading.com/Spotify. It's a little bit easier, especially for these spaces. It's audio only. With YouTube, you got to keep it open in YouTube, which is very annoying. With Spotify, you can minimize it, do whatever you want, and still listen to the episode. So we have a couple sessions with Vegas over there already on that Spotify list. We're still uploading a bunch of old ones, but anyway, thank you so much, Vegas.
Yeah, thank you everyone for coming by and for tuning in. And if you have any stocks that you want us to maybe talk about and see if there's a story, let us know. I'll check it out and might talk about it on the next episode of with Story Trading. So thank you everyone. Have an amazing night and a good trading day tomorrow. And look forward to speaking to you guys again soon.